Hi guys, a long time no see. Welcome back to the channel. Yes, I'm here. I'm gonna try and be here at least once a week. And today I'm bringing to you my current drugstore favorites. Starting off with primer, I'm gonna be using the Maybelline 4-in-1 Perfector. I've talked about this before. This is the shade 01 Light. And I talked about how I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of this, or I couldn't figure out what all the hype was about. And while it's still not necessarily a favorite product that I reach for every single day, it is getting there. It's a nice glowy base for someone like myself who has not only mature skin but oily skin. I like anything that goes under my foundation to be very thin in consistency, and this definitely is. If you ever felt like the e.l.f. Halo Glow or the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter was a little too thick for your skin type or your preferences, this would be a good one to check out. Sometimes I apply it with sponge, sometimes I apply it with a brush. Either way, it's amazing. Now, my tried and true favorite drugstore foundation is the L'Oreal Tinted Serum. As you can see here, I got pumps for mine off Amazon. So I do have those linked along with all of these products in a post in my Howl storefront, which will be linked down in the description box for you. But I use this one, as you can see, all the time. So today we're gonna use something different so I can tell you about another favorite. Now, this doesn't come straight from the drugstore, but it is a drugstore priced product for sure. This is the Believe Beauty Skin Finish Foundation. I have mine in the shade Nude. Told you I was out of practice. And I actually got this from my girl Angela from Beauty and Life with Angela. I'll link her below. She has a Dollar General, which is where you can get this, along with you can get it on Believe Beauty's website. So of course I'll have it linked, but I don't have a Dollar General anywhere near me, and so she sent me this for Christmas, and it's amazing. It's everything I always hoped it would be when I, had this on my mind. I remember seeing so many people, specifically Allie Glines, always talks about this foundation, or did for a long time. So I just really like it. I would say it's a solid medium coverage, though I tend to wear things pretty sheared out, just my own preference. Less is more on my oily and mature skin, but it's a great shade match and I'm really happy with it. I usually go in with about 2 pumps and that will cover the face. Have you guys tried this one? I just think it is so pretty. As of lately anyways, have been enjoying applying my foundation with a brush and then going in with my sponge to just press it into the skin and, possibly pick up any excess product, but typically there isn't. I feel like 2 pumps is like perfect. Oh, I forgot my favorite step though. I like to spray it. This is not the Charlotte Tilbury, this is the Milani Make It Last. I just like the sprayer better. And I like to spray this before I press the foundation in with my sponge. I don't know, I feel like it definitely helps the longevity of the foundation. And as an oily girl, I need longevity. All right, now for concealer, I'm still on the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum. I have mine in the shade Vanilla, which is definitely not brightening for me right now, but that's okay. I don't always feel like I have to have, a ton of brightening under the eyes. It just depends on the day and the night's sleep I had before. But today is a snow day for my daughter, so I slept pretty good last night, if I'm being honest, and got to sleep past my normal wake up time, which is always a blessing. I'm sure you guys know what I mean. But this is just such a nice light thin formula. I actually really like the pump packaging personally. I feel like I can control a little better how much I'm getting out and how much I'm applying when I do use this pump. And I also find that this is one of the best products for covering the melasma on my upper lip without making it look super cakey. Foundation alone doesn't tend to do the entire job, so I do like to add a little concealer, and some concealers just make it look like I have multiple layers of product on my upper lip, but I feel like this one doesn't do that. So, and then you can see I have very little on the back of my hand left, but I'm gonna bring this down and just cover up some of the hyperpigmentation that is the worst at the top of my cheeks. Look at that glow, baby. Woo! Good stuff. It's so weird getting ready without music now, because on TikTok I can listen to music and not get copyright strikes, so sitting here in silence feels a little weird. Now, a newer product to me, but I'm in love already, is this Milani Conceal and Perfect Liquid Contour. I have the shade 02 Ginger, and it is one of these little puff applicators, and it does not have a locking mechanism on it. So be aware of that when you squeeze it for how much product that you want. But I have been absolutely loving this. I feel like if there's any formula out there of liquid contours, which this is actually more of a bronzer shade, even though it's labeled a contour, I feel like this is in formula actually the one that's closest to the Charlotte Tilbury contour one, which I don't currently have because I used mine up. So I feel like I have a very good grasp of that formula, and I definitely think this one is close. I would like to pick up the lightest shade at some point because it is a little bit more cool tone. It's just so easy to use. You have a good amount of time to work with it, and I just really recommend this one. Actually, I thought it was a pretty decent price. I believe it was $10 when I picked it up at Walmart, and I just love the way it looks. It's so perfect. I haven't tried this with a brush yet, so if you have, let us know down in the comments if you preferred it with a brush or a sponge. Obviously a sponge is going to pick up some of the product, but I haven't had any issues thus far. All right, for powder, good old Maybelline Fit Me. I can't believe I waited so long to try this because it is so good. It's nice and thin. It's almost like the texture of a finishing powder, which I've seen it called that online, but I wouldn't, I definitely think because it has coverage, I wouldn't necessarily consider it a finishing powder, but it is a beautiful finely milled powder. I can't believe this was hiding at the drugstore all these years and I never picked it up. I just always thought, well, I have some other, really nice high-end powders. Why buy that one? But honestly, because it's really freaking good. And I also really like that it does have just a little bit of coverage versus some of my other favorite powders, because I can clean up, contour, liquid products, cream products really easily with it, because it does have just that little bit of coverage, whereas a translucent powder is not going to do much for you in that department. All right, next, I've been loving to layer this Wet n Wild Color Icon bronzer in the shade Sunset Striptease over top of a cream or liquid bronzer contour product. So I've also been using the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer for that purpose, but I really have been leaning on this one lately, mostly because I feel like it's a little bit lighter or more sheer. So, I can still layer it without looking like I just stepped out of a, I don't know, travel agency brochure. I don't know. Don't forget to bronze your ears and a little bit underneath the chins. See this right here, this white? That's mostly where you want to bronze or contour, because it's gonna stick out like a sore thumb if it's a lot whiter than the rest of your face. What do you guys do with bronzer in the winter? Do you just keep going, you know, hard with it, how you enjoy it? Obviously not everybody lives in a place where it gets cold in the winter, so maybe y'all are bronzing it up in that warm weather. Even though it's winter, I personally try not to go too crazy with bronzer during the winter, but I don't always succeed at that. So how have you guys been doing? I really have been missing my longer form content a little bit. So that is why I'm coming back, you know, at least part-time, at least one video a week. Next is blush, and this one is highlighter optional. This is the Essence Pure Nude Baked Blush in the shade Goldie Cassis. I have no idea what that name means. Let us know down below if you do, but it's really pretty. It's a cool tone pinky plum shade with a little bit of a golden sheen to it, but I really enjoy this. It kind of reminds me a little bit of a more pigmented version of Hourglass Mood Exposure, which has always been one of my favorite blushes until my daughter stole it. So I'm glad that I can recommend one, especially one at such a good price. And I've been liking to put just a touch of blush on the chin down there and a little along the hairline, just because I feel like it balances out the face nicely. All right, I'm gonna pop off of here and do my brows and eyeshadow primer. Eyeshadow primer is always the Fenty, which is not drugstore, but that's what I use. And then I'm gonna use the NYX Micro Brow Pencil in Ash Brown and the Kosas Air Brow in Clear. All right, we are back and it's time for the eyeshadow. This is a newer drugstore eyeshadow palette to me, and it is the Wet n Wild Nude Awakening palette. I really like the colors in here. The one downside is that these three shimmers here are all pretty similar. They all kind of fall into the rose gold category, but today we're gonna be doing a super simple eye look, and I already set down my eye primer with this cream matte shade. So now I'm gonna go in with this shade for my transition. This is the first one of these little tin pans that I have tried because I couldn't for the longest time like decide what color I wanted or what colorway I wanted, because there's just so many good ones, but I wanted to make sure it'd be one that I would actually get a lot of use out of. And so I ultimately picked this one because I'm just in a real neutral moment in my makeup life. I have been for a while. The only palette I have been using with regularity as of recently is my Makeup by Mario Ethereal Eyes palette, which is limited edition, and I think it's gone, you guys. According to my sources, they had talked to the Mario team and the team said that it is gone, which is so sad. It's such a good palette, and I got it pretty close to launch, and I know I had it when I went to Vegas in November, so that's not very long to have a palette on in the market, whether it's limited edition or not. So I was definitely bummed out by that. Not that I won't continue to use it, because lots of folks did buy it, and honestly it's the only palette I've wanted to reach for in the last several months, and it's been such a long time since that was the case that I used a palette like that. Anybody else feel like there just aren't that many eyeshadow releases coming out lately? It's kind of interesting. It makes me wonder if we're going more and more to the like less is more eyeshadow kind of thing. No clue. Okay, now for a little bit of a deeper color, I'm gonna go into this shade right here. It's kind of a plummy brownie shade, and I'm just gonna press this on the very outer corner of my eye here and just really blend it out. It's kind of a satiny shade here, and I don't want to go too far up into the crease, but some of it will end up in the crease inevitably because I'm going to blend. So what has been your favorite palettes of lately? I'm definitely curious. I'm getting ready to do another 1 week, 1 palette over on TikTok, where I use the same palette for the entire week. I'm really excited about the choices, and it's kind of close in terms of, you know, the number of votes for each palette. I put up 4 palettes. One my daughter picked, one Angela picked, one I picked, and one had been requested in my previous 1 week, 1 palette video. So we'll see what happens. Now, I'm gonna wipe that brush off really well. And I'm gonna take the same brown shade that we went into before, and I'm gonna pack this kind of in the crease, right over the edge of that plum before I blend it out. I just really like that color, it's so pretty. I will say these have a fair amount of kick up, kind of disappointingly so. Like, I'm not really too fussy about that, but this has like a lot a lot of kick up. And also the shade that I've been using as a transition, you do have to build this up a fair amount. So just taking a little more of that shade and blending the edges. I do really like this. I think the quality is nice and all that. I'm going to take that same brown shade on just a little flat smudgy kind of brush and take this underneath the lower lash line. All right, and then with a little pinched fluffy brush, I'm going to go into this ivory shimmer satin. We'll find out. I don't think I've used this as a lid shade yet, just as a inner corner highlight. So I'm excited to see what kind of impact we can make with this. I don't typically go with anything quite this bright on the lid, but I didn't really want to use rose gold today because I wanted to use that Essence blush for you guys since it's newer on the market, and I didn't feel like the rose gold would really go with that. So I thought, well, let's use this little plummy dark shade and this ivory on the lid. It is nice and smooth. I'm going to see if I can get, I'm sure I can, a little better application with my finger. I feel like it's still quite transparent on the lid. It is pretty though. I'm going to bring that up to blend with the crease. Something I like to do to lift the eye. I think I'm gonna go straight in with the finger on the other side. That seems to be the best method. All right, and then I'm gonna take a little more of that with a light fluffy brush here, a little tiny wispy one, and just highlight the inner corner a little more. All right, I'm gonna let you hang out while I do mascara and stuff too. We'll chit chat. I did want to mention that I did spray my face again with the Milani Make It Last when I did my brows and eyeshadow primer. All right, I'm not going to line the upper lid today with eyeliner, but I am going to tight line. I'm using the NYX Epic Wear Liner Stick in the shade Berry Goth. This is just a deep purple, and even though I'm just tight lining with it, I love the way it looks with my brown eyes. But purple is one of those shades that really anybody can wear. And as you can see, hopefully, this lash line just looks a lot darker and fuller than the other one. All right, and then I have been working with the Milani highly rated lash extensions tubing mascara. They did not even try to hide that they were trying to dupe Thrive Cosmetics, and I think they did a really good job. Mine's still kind of in that drying out phase. You know, it's still very wet and new, but I find every time I use it, I like it a little bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this. And I really do like it. I love a good tubing mascara, however. I was apt to probably like it as long as it, you know, performed well and everything. And it really does. And I'm so happy that they finally have a good tubing mascara at the drugstore. Because I do like a tubing mascara. I frequently have to take naps in the afternoon. because of migraines, and this really, I don't get those little black half moons on the tops of my cheeks because my lashes rest there because they're longer. Lash serum, not naturally blessed. I use the e.l.f. lash serum. I really like it so far, and I like it for that reason. It's also great for lower lash line because you won't have any smudging there. Now, tubing mascara is not waterproof by any means. You remove it with just plain old water, but it is quite water resistant. If you have watery eyes, tubing mascara is a great way to go if you don't want to use waterproof mascaras, which a lot of people don't because they're harder to get off and therefore they can damage your lashes in the process of trying to get them off. So I'm just getting more and more on my face. So I am really enjoying this mascara. All right, first I'm going to line with the NYX lip pencil in the shade Peekaboo Neutral. This is supposed to be a dupe color-wise for the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk liner, and I would definitely say it gets close. And these lip pencils are cheap and they are very good. I would equate them to like the MAC lip pencils. So the gloss that I've been loving is this one from NYX. This is Milky Gloss in the shade Cherry Skimmed. And admittedly, my favorite liner to go with this is MAC Whirl, but Peekaboo Neutral will do the trick too. And I feel like this is the perfect lip to match that Essence blush. All right, and this is the completed look, full face of my current drugstore favorites. Let me know down below, what kind of videos would you like to see from me? I'm down for shorter videos or longer videos. I've missed you guys. I hope to upload as much as possible, but I'm going to start with a goal of once a week consistently. So I have a bunch of new drugstore lippies that I wouldn't mind sharing with you, and maybe including the lip swatches for those. So I hope you enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed getting back into things and talking and chatting with you guys. I cannot wait to chat with you guys in the comments, which I will be better about. And I hope all of your makeup days are absolutely beautiful makeup days. And I will see you in my next one very soon.